Hey, I'm Gavin.
And I'm Johnny, and this is Behind the Beach Bars podcast.
We're the founders of the Beach Bars, a group of local bars here on the Sunshine Coast built with purpose and passion.
In this podcast, we're going to take you behind the scenes and tell you about our journey, our people, our partnerships, and how we run and operate this business.
It's for locals, for team, or for anyone who's curious into what goes on behind the scenes of building a business you believe in. All right, so we've been pouring Your Mates beer and brewing Tim Adams coffee since the day we started.
And today we've got the legends behind those brands to talk about building partnerships that actually matter and keeping it local.
Matt, Tim, thanks for joining us.
Hi, I'm Tim from Tim Adams Specialty Coffee, founder and director of the company back in 2010, and a proud Sunshine Coast boy. Around the sort of 2007, 2008 mark, I thought, well, there's got to be more to coffee than just commercial grade. And then the word specialty sort of started to get used a bit more. And you know, I sort of looked at the US market and where they were heading. They had a massive, large commercial background, but all the barista competitions was centered around US champions doing really well and buying really exclusive micro lots from individual farms. So that's what really sparked my interest in coffee was how much more can I learn about coffee that then I can bring to the coast and share it with everyone. Yeah. You know, and then you fast forward 15 years and we've got a freezer full of 15 different micro lots that you can choose when you walk into our main espresso bar. And you know, and the amount of coffees that we've shared with cafes and restaurants across the coast in that time, it went from a single individual guy winning a title, which is 2009, won the Australian Barista Championship. And I'm still the only Queenslander to win that title. And that's, no one's ever done it from Queensland since.
Yeah.
So
did you compete again after that, or you were just like,
no, I
got
did.
the title, I'm fucking, I'm done now?
Because I was like, holy shit, I've just won the Australian title.
Retired the champ.
No, I was like, I wanted to figure out how I did it.
Yeah.
And I didn't, you don't realise how hard it is until you go back again. And so I competed for 4 years after that, won Queensland's twice more. And then I placed in the top 6 every time I competed in Australia. But it was like the competition was so fierce and tough. It was like, fuck, did I jag it, or did I do well to win that? And yes, I did do well. It was the answer. But you just figure out how hard it is, you know. And since then I've trained other baristas to compete. And as a company we've won 8 Queensland titles and, 5 in a row with Tilly. Who's still with us. So, and just sharing that knowledge and helping her and guiding her made me realise, okay, let's build more of a community around our coffee brand and let's really get, the locals invested into our brand and show, the rest of Australia and the world how good coffee can be from anywhere.
And you, like, in the specialty coffee movement, essentially, like when it hit the coast, you had an espresso bar that was sort of...
I had a mobile espresso bar, so I had a coffee van. So I did everything off the back of that van, essentially. So we had a little run through Maroochydore, my wife and I, Katie, we owned it we started that in 2010. And literally the same time I started actively looking for wholesale partners who wanted to partner with us and share our story and share our journey. So it was doing 25 kilos a week.
Yep. Yeah, wow. I was about to say, mobile vans, that's a tough business.
Tough gig, tough gig. So in and out of the van all day, every day. And, I think at its peak, I had it, like 180 coffees per day by myself, which is huge. Like, it's a lot. That gave me the ability to really understand what the coffee drinker wanted every day. Like, because I was drinking it myself, but, you don't want to just drink and have your own opinion. You want everybody's opinion. So we were going into corporate, we're going to blue collar, white collar, everything, car yards, real estate agents everywhere. It's just to get an understanding of what the local market wanted. And every Friday I'd do a single origin coffee. So just one, I'd remove the blend, and out of the back of the van I'd just do a single origin by itself. And I remember just getting carved up by all the tradesmen over that coffee because it was wildly different to everything else that they have consumed. So, which I learned a lot from that because, I found sales would dip and go up again and dip and go up again on that Friday, depending on what single origin I had on. So, and then we decided to just really expand and start sort of building more off the back of that. And then I opened up Lambkin Lane Espresso Bar in 2015, which was one of the very first cafes on the coast that didn't do food. And day one or two of opening, we had we had a Facebook sort of review that said you guys will never survive without food.
And it's still there, isn't it?
It's still there.
Yeah, I went there. Hadn't been there for years, and it was pumping.
It was pumping, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and
the
they
Facebook review printed out, stuck on the wall.
There's always a review that you read at 11 p.m. at night that you just like burns into your brain, eh?
So that's Tim's intro.
Matt Hepburn, founder of Your Mates Brewing Company, or 50% of the founder, with my mate Kristen McGarry, currently operating CEO. We started in 2013 and launched in 2015, which is 10 years ago. And similar to Tim's story, started with nothing and started doing some, ideas that we thought were probably, really cool. But for us, it was started out as a hobby. No money. We're in hospo, working for my brother at Drift Bar. Both of us quit our professional jobs, and I was dealing with angry tradies. McGarry was dealing with screaming 4-year-olds as a primary school teacher, and I just wanted to go and open up a hostel back in Mexico, where I just come from a trip. And after a couple of years, we loved hospo, loved it, and we started a beer club. And back in 2013, 14, it was like the introductory OG period of when craft beer would really started specifically on the Sunshine Coast. And I remember that Stone and Wood launched in 2013 in Queensland. We were one of the first taps at Drift, and again, Caloundra, hats off to Tim with that espresso bar. It's a pretty, it was considered a pretty rough neighbourhood. And you guys obviously starting out your first venture in Kings Beach. It was Nambour by the sea when I grew up there. And, a lot of guys are like, you're never going to sell that bloody puffy shit in here. And, pretty eye-widening stuff. But, really quickly we saw Stonewall become number one selling beer in the bar over Forest Gold, because you've got 12 taps, 10 of them are a lager, one's a dark beer, and you have this, beer Stonewood. So, we were so passionate. We loved it, lived and breathed it, and took over as bar managers. We just cycled around that venue for so many years.
Were you shooting for here when you started, or were you just like, we're just having fun?
We always started as this is going to be a business. We learnt how to brew beer, we learnt how to run business. So we knew we needed to learn hospitality, but it was always, we want to own a brewery. We need to learn how to brew beer and sell beer. And that kind of started our journey in 2015 is when we launched. Had a tiny shed in Moffat Beach, 60 square metres, not $1 in our bank. Like, running on fumes is an over-exaggeration. Yeah. We're putting in $300 each a week to fund it for about 3 years, and living off like $300 a week. But when you're in hospo, working weekends and nights, you don't really spend too much money because you're having a good time, working whilst you're trying to save money. So that was a big part of our, introduction to business, was learning how to scale high barrier industry, high capital entry industry with no money. And we were losing.
Sounds impossible. Right?
Yes,
man. How do you sell this?
And I remember getting beer coming to you guys, and we were selling our kegs for the same price as Stonewood because we thought we had to, and we didn't know. I didn't know what a break-even point was back then. I'm like, that's what they are, and for us it was like, we need to get the brand out. Yeah. If we can't sell beer on the sunny coast, how do we ever go and sell beer down in Brisbane or down in the Goldie or across the border? So it was really big foundation of where we go like full balls in and give it a red hot crack. And at the same time, this is when breweries like Brouhaha and a lot of breweries are popping up on the sunny coast
everywhere on the coast. Yeah. Same with coffee.
When did that happen? What year was that? Do you reckon all the
that
breweries
was 2015, 16.
So same year you got kind of.
Yeah, Tento's popped up and some really good breweries. Right? Yeah. Brouhaha popped up. Now there's 25 on the sunny coast. So we spent a lot of time before we launched to get real feedback from people paying, $8 was a expensive beer 10 years ago to get that real feedback from real people.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of gave us a lot of confidence to launch. So we quit Drift, working for your brother, my wife was in the business. So I was like it was Anyone who works with their partner and their brother, I'd highly recommend not doing that. But
I can confirm loudly.
Yeah, but really good learning in business. Like, let's go out on our own, and we actually opened up a bar in Nambour, literally.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
And no food. We're like, no food, craft beer bar. Learn a lot of lessons of little bit different culture to, Sunny Coast has a really big active coffee. I love coffee.
Yeah.
Active culture, whereas beer is like, one, we're in Nambour, and two, like, we're putting on some amazing world, Australian-wide, really high-class beers, and like, wiping the glasses off and presenting them really nicely, but we're in Nambour and people want a fucking bowl of chips. So there was a lot of lessons, but at this time we had our forward fronting business. It is not an easy industry. Yeah. Like, we can all sit here and accept that because it's very tough.
I'm always talking people out of hospitality because I'm like, you've got to get 5 things right to make the smallest margin out of any business I know. Yeah, that's what I would ask you, is because both of these guys were like a no-brainer. Like when we were taking over that place, there wasn't even any like, who should we go to or where, whatever. It was like, Tim, I think you were probably one of the first people called. It's like, we need a coffee machine, we need this here, whatever. And it was like...
But we had a relationship before that started as well, and it was just a no-brainer. Like the level of support you give, and from training the staff and knowing the quality and the passion you have in your game. And it was the same with you. So there was no craft beer on tap then. And the guy we bought it off actually said... that craft beer doesn't fucking sell here. He was brutal, and we were like, nah, Larry's coming on. And that was our top seller from day one, on the taps. And that was 4 taps at the time, and then slowly that evolved to going fully independent. And it was like, can the big guys...
Been like partners in our business situation with you guys for 8 years now, with both of you. Like, why does the relationship work, or why has it lasted 8 years that it's still a no-brainer that first beer or the only coffee we have kind of thing? Like, why has that stood the test of time?
Fundamentally, it's just easy, honest conversations. I've had reps come and go who have looked after Kings Beach and probably have said some good things and probably inappropriate things to certain people in Beach Bar Group. And Johnny just calls me up and goes, "Hey mate, can we just sit down and have a beer?" I'm like, "Yeah, fucking oath. Let's it's not." And that's what Johnny's like. He's like, "Mate, I know that he said, and sit down and we work it out really quickly. I'm like, mate, what do you need? This is what I can do. I love being on the venues. This is where I come from my coffees. He loves having us on tap. You guys, I looked at the beers and they're still pouring really well. And I think just that honesty and feedback is like any good relationship, I guess.
I think there's a huge mutual respect.
100%.
Like, we love what you guys do and we want to sell that in the venue. If there's...
Is that from built over years of doing business together, or was that from pre-doing business together? Because you guys actually knew each other before even getting started.
I think it's a bit of everything. It's like, we believe in each other's story. We want to back each other from a sense of, as we grow, you grow. Like that sort of feel. But you guys, to me, have become Sunny Coast icons in terms of putting beer on the map in Australia for the Sunny Coast. And that's something I hugely believe in. Like, I'm so proud of the Sunny Coast and everyone in it. And it's a beautiful place to grow up. And especially after moving away for so long and coming back, there was a huge amount of... just love for the whole.
And your venues, like you obviously ooze that. It's Sunny Coast. You're on the beach, having a beer, and beers just work. And our beers are working really well there. So, obviously you backed us, and that's what I say to everyone. Look, if it doesn't sell, take us off tap. If it doesn't work for you, I've got mates who own venues. Like, it doesn't really work. I'm like, mate, it's all good. I'm not. I'm not going to get upset. And
there's been a couple of times over the past as well where
there's been plenty of times where Johnny's just rang me up and we just called a spade, and at the end of the day, they're not really that big. There might be bigger issues to other people, but not to us. It's like
it's really easily
everything
resolved.
that's flowing through. Let's just have a quick 5-minute chat, or pop into the roastery and chat, and we'll go from there and fit and nut it out pretty damn quick. I remember we started at King's with seasonal blend. And you guys called me up one day and said, "Look, Timmy, this ain't working. This blend is too fruity. Like, it's not it's not hitting the mark. I realise you're changing and it's seasonal and we want it to match our seasonal menu. However, it's not working because it's changing too much.
Interesting, like with coffee,
so
they become so... They want that same coffee every time. So when you introduce
it's habitual,
blend,
right? It's a habit that people want. And sometimes you'll go left field, maybe when you're second or third. But for your mainstay, I mean, I know what blend we have at home, and that's all my wife will drink. Katie's like, it's doctor. You don't bring any other shit home. I don't care. I don't care where it's come from anywhere on the planet. I don't care where you sourced it. Yeah. I don't care if you just went to Honduras and sourced it from your own farm. I don't give a fuck. I want it to taste like this.
I don't care if it tastes like Sherry Rye. I find coffee interesting, especially as labour costs have come up. You want to be busier and busier on the machine, but there's this tipping point where you need the second barista on there, but now you're not busy enough to pay for the second barista on there. It's this sweet spot. It's like...
Then you get a rainy day and it's like, well, we just lost all our profit
today. Yeah. Unless you're in a shopping centre and you get pumped. Well, that's indoors. Which is, where our model sort of, our retail line has a balance between that.
Yeah.
We're about to start our 5th store and every store is different. Every clientele is different, but they're all coffee drinkers.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with a friend.
And follow us on socials.